Drink the Nation is a podcast for thoughtful, informed adults, preferably with a pour in hand. The views and opinions expressed on the show are those of the hosts and guests only, and do not reflect the views of any employers, institutions, licensing boards, government agencies, bourbon distilleries, or family members, especially our family members. They've asked us to be very clear about that. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing said here should be taken as medical, psychiatric, legal, or professional advice. If you're in crisis, call a professional. If you're mad at something we said, we suggest journaling or emailing us with civility. We're here to challenge ideas, not diagnose strangers. We're clinicians, not your clinicians. And we have the bourbon to prove it. Let's go. All right, welcome back to Shrink the Nation, everyone. Today, we've got a fascinating session lined up. We're putting Uncle Sam back on the couch and diving deep into the collective unconscious with a little help from Carl Jung. We've got Robbie here with his philosophical hat on, and we're even bringing a little Old Crow bourbon spirit into the mix, and it's going to help us loosen up those national neuroses. So settle in, because this is going to be one part history, one part psychology, and a dash of Old Crow humor. Let's go.
Yeah, we're coming to you from an undisclosed alley behind a dumpster right now.
This is the Old Crow show. We've been promising.
I know. We were in an alley behind a dumpster with our Old Crow.
I've got my cardboard box set up.
Smashed down. Nice.
They just give it to you when you purchase this stuff. They just give you a cardboard box. It's not even folded. It's just laid out. You just to sleep on later that night. Yeah.
Yep. It's like buying moving boxes. Here you go.
They sell it by the gallon. You can't even buy the stuff in a smaller bottle than a 1.75 liter.
Now the tragedy is, and actually one of the things you got to overcome when you try Old Crow is the knowledge of how cheap it is. That sets some kind of cognitive bias. You buy an $80 bottle of bourbon, you've just blown $80, so you want it to be especially good. You buy a $5 bottle of bourbon, your brain tells you this is going to taste like gasoline. And they all kind of, the first sips almost always gasoline-ish. So it's just the nature of it while your taste buds acclimatize. But Old Crow has a fantastic history. It was the most popular bourbon in the United States from the 1830s all the way up to World War II. Favorite bourbon of President Grant, Mark Twain. That's pretty awesome. And Andrew Jackson. Supposedly, Dr. James Crow, creator, he was the one that brought a certain scientific chemist approach to making bourbon. And he was one that pioneered the concept of the sour mash, which is a little bit of the mash from the prior batch pulled forward to the new batch, which led to a certain consistency in bourbon that is one of the selling points on bourbon, that bourbons are going to taste like bourbon. Kind of like sourdough bread. A little bit of your starter is going to be involved over and over and over again. I think. I've never made sourdough. I believe you have, though.
I've made a lot of sourdough. Yeah, it's addicting once you start doing it. So I'd say don't if you don't want to put on a belly. Unfortunately, for those of us who do want to try the Old Crow, it was purchased by Jim Beam in the 80s, and then they reformulated it to align with their mash bill. And so we've got a 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley. So it isn't made the way that Dr. Crow had originally made it. It isn't what great-great-great-great-grandpappy was enjoying. But,
which is a shame. So it's a shame because in that sour mash process, I like to imagine that there are a few molecules that are hundreds of years old that have been involved in this process for hundreds of years, and I am the first one to ingest.
Actually, with that said, I'm really glad that we're not tasting a 200-year-old mash.
It's on the molecular level.
It tastes like maybe not as refined bourbon so far, but we'll see as we get through this episode here how dumpster fiery we get.
Well, the strongest steel is forged in the fire of a dumpster. So yeah, I have confidence with this.
We'll see if we can make it through. All right.
Yeah, and for the record, for the audience who probably not only have never had Old Crow, and probably zero desire to have Old Crow. It does taste like a rye bourbon, maybe a rye bourbon that's not terribly long aged. There's a lack of complexity to it, but otherwise it tastes like a rye bourbon. Well worth your $5.
I think you have to get the whole giant bottle of it. You're going to spend your $20, but you're going to get 4 times the amount. Really a lot of bang for your buck.
A lot of bang.
I got a plastic glass for my Old Crow.
That was apropos. That
was intentional.
That was well thought.
I have beautiful bourbon glasses and round, perfectly spherical bourbon ice cubes.
Yeah.
I forwent. I don't know how to say that word properly.
I think that
completely
right.
ignored all of that, and I got a plastic medieval times cup and just lazy ice cubes.
Oh, well, at least you did ice cubes.
Because
I think raccoon saliva.
Something for the rotting meat.
Yeah, that would work. The dumpster bandit, you just grab them by the scruff of the neck.
Just want to, be
squeeze a little bit into your drink.
Fighting a raccoon later.
Oh, for those who have never fought a raccoon, you're missing out.
Well, you need Old Crow to fight a raccoon. This is what we do for our listeners. We experience these things for them. This is for you, everybody. We're going through this for you. You're welcome. We are taking a second stab at personality of the nation. Why would we do that, Robbie? I
think we're finding that so many of the topics that we discuss are more complex than we can get through in a single episode. I think we're also finding that when you drink bourbon and talk about these things, by the end of the episode, our cohesiveness is lacking to a degree. And last time, there were so many different directions that we could go. We had 4 folks on the show at the time. We ended up dipping our toes into so many different things that I don't think it ended up painting the picture that I wanted. So we're revisiting it basically to bring clarity.
So we're doing this for you.
Totally for me. This is a project of narcissism for me.
That's fine. We're team. That's what Shrink the Nation is all about. Teamwork.
Right. Teamwork.
With any topic that we're going to go over, one, we're going to have the opportunity to listen to it, hear maybe some gaps, some holes in what we spoke about the previous time. Maybe we can find some clarification. As people listen to it, they can ask questions, and we'll try to circle back around in the future. For anybody out there listening, if you have questions on a topic, hit us up, send it to us. We're happy to try to answer anything we can, or even go back onto a topic that was particularly interesting or confusing, which sometimes it is when you're drinking bourbon. But this is
last time we really did try to hit all the schools of psychotherapy in a condensed way and with 4 different perspectives. I'm not sure we did justice to any single one of them because we were trying to do all of them. Today, what I'd really like to do, and this is again, this is purely driven by Rob's interests, and David's playing along. I really like Carl Jung. I like his quotes, the way he approached psychotherapy. I like the things that he wrote about and brought forward. So we're going to approach Uncle Sam. So Uncle Sam walks back in the office. It's like, well, it smells of leather-bound books and rich mahogany. Kind of a big deal. Yeah. So Uncle Sam comes back to us. Why? I don't know. Probably if I had an initial experience in the therapy office like that, I would have never come back. But for whatever reason, he came back. He's back on the couch. So Carl Jung was the heir apparent to Sigmund Freud. Again, to correspond over mail, I'll use the term fell in love with one another because I believe they used that term. The first time they met, they spent 28 hours in conversation.
Cocaine.
Straight. Well, I think cocaine probably helped out.
Probably.
And they were very close. Jung was fascinated with Freud's ideas. As he aged, he developed his own ideas. He is known for archetypes and the concept of the shadow. He's also known for something called the collective unconscious. He believed that we have our conscious, our subconscious, and then there is below that a collective unconscious, basically the genetic history of being a human. That's why so many myths and so many legends, culture-bound archetypes are similar across the world because we share this genetic history, this shared human experience. I think that works for us because what we're trying to do is make Uncle Sam a entity, when in fact it is an entity that is comprised of millions of citizens, each of one of which are individual entities. So the sort of collective consciousness of its population becomes the nation. So I think it works. I might be belaboring it just a touch if I were going to approach Uncle Sam.
It sounds like that's how you're going to approach Uncle Sam. So
there's nothing you can do about it. Is really what you're saying.
So really,
I've got no options
you're gonna
here.
sit
I'm along
there
for the ride.
You're gonna listen to it, and you're gonna enjoy it. And if you don't like it, Mr. Nussbaum is gonna come and get you. That's what's gonna happen. So
the collective unconscious is like a bicycle shop, and no, it's not. It's not. At any rate, when we touched on a couple of these things last time, that the United States is living the hero archetype and the rebel archetype. Those are what we aspire to be, what we see ourselves as. But if you were to be in therapy with Carl Jung or someone who is a Jungian analyst, their goal is to identify the archetype that you're living and figure out which one you need to transition to in midlife to lead a full integrated life. For most Jungian analysts, the focus of therapy for them is midlife, transitioning from what they would consider childhood. And I know most of us wouldn't consider it because we are talking about people up into their middle 30s or beyond. The truth is, every adult is not an adult. Would you agree? Age doesn't make you an adult.
No, God. Not at all. I don't know that there is an age. I know Jung didn't start doing therapy with people until they were like 35, 36 because he wanted them to be in quote unquote adulthood as long as they had been in childhood. I'm not even sure nowadays that we could safely say that everybody who is 36 years old is cleanly in adulthood. Maybe the vast majority of people, I think life experiences, that's what gets you to adulthood. Your ability to navigate experiences would probably be the better litmus test.
Something I've thought about with Jung at this point, I don't know if he would have arbitrarily selected 35. I think he was thinking kind of late teens, double it. That has to be the point where you've had enough years out of traditional childhood and are ready to actually transition to full-fledged adulthood. It is a curious kind of thought that with our modern situation, would he pick that age now? I'm kind of thinking probably not. He might pick 50 now.
You were certainly seeing a shift in people leaving their parental house. Weird anecdote the other day. 18-year-old cousin was in a, call it a fender bender, but he was basically ran into by a woman in her 40s. He called me up and said, I just got hit. What should I do? And I told him, get the insurance. That's all you should do, man. And she called her parents. Her parents showed up. She's 41 years old. Her parents showed up.
How old were they?
Entirely her fault. Yeah.
70?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they both showed up to help her through the minor traffic act. Nobody was injured, nothing. But
yeah,
the 18-year-old high school kid was otherwise fine. He just got the insurance card. He figured it out. 41-year-old woman, parents showed up.
Good for him. And that's a positive experience because now he is going to have had an experience where he engaged with an adult that wasn't an adult. And that might help guide him. I'm like, I don't want to be that one. I don't want to be that chick. So the term, and particularly the way Jung used it, it wasn't just an age range. It was a maturity level and it was an insight level. Making that transition from living the life that you were given. I'll take us as parents. Our job is to guide and transfer a certain value set onto our children and to protect them, feed them, clothe them, all the things. Our job is to keep our kids alive and transfer a value set that we believe will be valuable to them and will help set them up for their future so that they can go on and mess up their kids and then watch their kids mess up their grandkids. That's the circle of life. And if I had a small lion cub to hold into the sky right now, I'd do it. And I believe there's probably some copyright issues, but if we could have at this moment, I feel like Elton John,
that'd be a very litigious copyright infringement that we cannot afford to fight.
Yeah, so Disney would crush us.
No, don't even say it.
We're not going down that road. All right.
We would be crushed.
Crushed.
We were talking about a different movie. It wasn't even a movie we were talking about.
Right. No, it was a dream. I had a dream about that.
There you
That transition is the life that you're given by your parents, who probably had reasonably good intentions, at least most parents. Now, their execution may be questionable, often is. Usually that's not malicious. It's an error of omission, not commission, but there are instances where it's the other way.
Typically not. Yeah, I would say most people don't wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, I'm about to fuck up my kid's life. This is going to be great. I think most of us wake up.
I do.
Most of us wake up, we look in the mirror and we go, man, you're rocking this, champ. Look at this guy. How does he do it? How does he do it so goddamn well?
Right.
And then we go and we fuck up our kids.
And they flex a little. Right, show off.
Well, you got to get your, you suck in your gut a little bit. You get the, you puff out the pecs a little bit. Yeah,
right.
You go
or pop them, make them bounce a little.
You bet. That's what most of us are doing. We're thinking we're really nailing this parent thing. We're doing.
Right. That's what David does in the mornings. Actually, right before he brushes his teeth.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm killing it. Killing it. Okay,
exactly.
You're right.
Go get yourself Pop-Tart, kid. I'm nailing this.
That's right. One lucky. You're one lucky kid.
Tyke. Frosted toaster pastries.
I'm not.
See frosting on there? Right. It's because I love you. Mm-hmm.
That's a good call. So by omission, commission doesn't necessarily matter. We are given a life, and then we hit midlife, and the challenge for us is to make that transition from the life that you were given to the life that is more consistent with you, and that's hard. James Hollis was someone who I'm really fond of his writing, we'll say, but he says, we're not here to fit in. We're not here to be well balanced or to provide exemplars for others. We are here to be eccentric, to be different, to perhaps even be a little strange, and to add our small piece to the mosaic of the collective. I love that, because really childhood is about fitting in, being well balanced, whereas becoming who you truly are may be diverging from the herd, diverging from the norm. Now, of course, in the grand scheme, we're all part of the herd. So that's the focus of Jungian analysis. Now let's apply it to Uncle Sam.
Just like that. All right.
So I've got David at a disadvantage. He is definitely not a Jungian.
Because you just spent all this time talking about the parental role that is played in that, and now we have a country that has started by kicking the parent to the curb. So
which we all did,
which is fine if we're saying, hey, we have Uncle Sam. Now I'm really starting to wonder who the brother and or sister is, and the child, the niece or nephew that is making Uncle Sam the uncle. But I digress. So the beginning of our story for this country is at the point where our country becomes Uncle Sam by kicking the parent Britain out and saying, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to exist on my own, and really struggled, had a rough go of things, and had a civil war for about the first 90 years. I think that's right.
7 years ago.
There you go. I don't know the official math on the official math on it, but there we 87. Go. Okay. 87 years. You have the Civil War. After that, World War II, and surprisingly in this role of being the hero archetype, as you've said, I haven't said it once, but there's one.
I think David's counting how many times I say archetype, so now I'm very self-conscious about it.
You should be, because I will delete those. And begrudgingly so, actually. It wasn't that Uncle Sam wanted to be the hero. Uncle Sam got dragged into it and then loved it. It very, very well with it until there were no more battles to be fought. It really was the hero until we have now. And now that Uncle Sam has aged out a bit, has been the hero for so long, that Uncle Sam is starting to have a lot of resentment towards those that need the hero, and is now saying, I don't know if I want to be your hero. I just don't want to keep doing hero things. I want you to not need me so much. So cut the shit.
Yeah. We were born through an act of rebellion, which channels the rebel archetype. Tally it down.
But we weren't born there. We were already born.
Well, we were. We came into our late youth. We were 18 years old at that moment. That's the moment we left the house, we'll say. And it was in rebellion.
Our independence was we got our independence. I mean, that's literally what we did, right? We did. We declared it.
We declared our independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. So we declared our independence. That's the equivalent of being an 18-year-old. It was through rebellion, which makes it incredibly apropos that there is an archetype called the rebel. And the rebel is going to fight against the establishment. It is going to say, I'm right, at a time in which no one else agrees. No one else agrees. And they're going to hold tight to that idea that they're right. And rather than giving it up, they're going to double down on it. And that was one of the strengths of our early portion of our nation, is that we doubled down on the idea of democracy. We doubled down on the idea that our Constitution meant something and it was important. And certainly we struggled, but the way we managed that, because being democratic was rebellion at that time. All the ideals that right now we hold dear, or at least we say we hold dear, at that time it was a rebellious thought to the will of the people, the power of the vote, the will of the majority with protection of the minority. Little L, liberal democracy, in which we respected all thoughts. Everyone was allowed to say what they believed. That was a rebellious belief structure at that time. And what helped us through that early period, we just kept doubling down on it, because that was the act of rebellion. We were channeling the archetype of the rebel.
What do you think it says that a creepy French guy that didn't get along with our parents is who helped liberate us from them?
That is the equivalent of Mr. Nussbaum at the bicycle shop. He slipped his way in. The creepy French dude. It is interesting, but it's kind of obvious. I mean, the interest of that individual had less to do with helping us and more to do with poking a finger into a peer's eye. But there we go.
Worked out for us.
It did. I don't know. I'm actually struggling. What was his name? Help me. I'm not a historian, everybody.
Lafayette.
David, help me. Lafayette, we are here. Yes. So I don't know what happened to him. He was probably killed in the French Revolution.
He died in 1834. He died peacefully at the age of 76 at his estate in France.
In France.
He helped overthrow King Charles X and helped bring Louis Philippe to the throne as a constitutional monarch. He helped the French Revolution. He died peacefully.
We were helped by a French guy who was poking a finger. We had the creepy French guy
who was poking a finger in a peer. Peer's eye. In his eye, not just in a peer. Because that'd be creepy. that would be Mr. Nussbaum.
That would be Mr. Nussbaum. Son of a bitch. So lived the life of a rebel, trying to prove ourselves to a world that really didn't agree with us, or at least espoused a different perspective. Then over time, we ended up making this transition to a hero archetype. And the hero archetype started certainly in World War I, although I realize the fact that we won World War I after we joined makes us feel like we were a military powerhouse. As it turns out, we were not. We were ill-prepared, performed poorly, and that's not to disparage the soldiers and Marines that.
Yeah, what are you doing, man?
I know.
All our World War I veterans are just
that's true.
Now.
I don't want to disparage them, because they certainly gave their all. They did their jobs, but we.
What are you giving participation trophy out now to the World War I veterans? Like, what's?
Thanks for coming. Here's
good job, guys.
Here's your fromage.
Yeah.
And your trophy. Head home. We weren't good at it. We weren't prepared for it. We weren't equipped for it. We didn't have the large scale experience for it. We struggled, but we were a source of manpower and we made a difference. But that is the point where our culture started to make that transition, where they felt like our general culture, who maybe didn't get to see the fact that we struggled, that we weren't as great as we want to believe, but our bigger culture was war was at a stalemate. Nothing was happening. A lot of people were dying. We came into this. War was won. Must be us. So we started really seeing ourselves as a hero, and we move into the roaring 20s. And then that certainly culminated in World War II, when we were the hero. We were the hero. We were a reluctant hero, which is a very American concept. It might even be uniquely American to be the reluctant hero, the quiet man, strong silent type, slow to anger. But once we get there, we handle business.
Don't make me take off my belt.
Yes. We are that guy. Don't make me take
All
off
right,
my
if I
belt.
got to get up off the couch, you know something's coming.
Absolutely. That lasted us for quite some time. Since that time, we have had this growing sense that being the hero is too heavy. We're talking about Uncle Sam like he's an individual, he's a person. Really, what we're talking about is a collection of thoughts. But over time, there has persistently been this argument of spending money around the world to protect people, be the world police force, to prevent future wars, to stabilize world economies. So the argument for is it protects future wars. Preventing a war has been proven time and time again to be cheaper than fighting a war, and stabilizing the world economy has benefited us. So that's one argument. The other argument is we're spending money overseas with non-US citizens that we could spend here. We could invest in our people and benefit them. So that's the push-pull. Historically, we've always erred on the side of being the hero. And man, we love it. We love to be the most powerful nation in the world. We love to go to WWE and chant USA, USA. We love that. That is part of our identity. But we also love to complain about the work of being a hero.
Having to be the hero for everybody else.
And it's heavy.
And not being appreciated for it, right?
Often being made fun of, whether there's a certain American stereotype that we're made fun of, being underappreciated, having to watch our flag be burned, disparaged. Our intent is in question. The purity of our actions are in question. So very similar, we mentioned Superman. I'm going to harken back to Superman 3, the original Superman 3.
Whoa.
He had a period in that movie in which he stopped being a hero. He was in a bar drinking Old Crow. And I can't recall the exact plot line. Now I'm going to have to watch it. But something happened to him that he kind of became, even his outfit got dark, like dingy. Something happened to him. And then he was, I don't know, cured through the power of love, I'm sure.
Spoilers,
like that.
man. Spoilers.
Dude, if you haven't watched a 1980s movie at this point.
Somebody could have been going to Blockbuster tonight to pick that up.
If somebody can find a Blockbuster tonight,
we're gonna rent it tonight. Okay,
I'll pay them whatever cost.
Careful what you careful.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody will prove
careful what you promise. Yeah.
Hey, wasn't there like a actual Blockbuster still functioning in like Washington State someplace? There's like a documentary about it.
Is there?
It's still there. There's like a documentary about this. It's a fascinating thing.
Now I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, that I would watch. I would watch a documentary about Blockbuster before I would go back and watch Superman 3.
Fair enough. And I'm not recommending it, but movies do tend to be demonstrations of certain cultural phenomena, and particularly movies that are popular. They capture something. They capture our imagination. So this is a struggle, being the hero. Being the hero is hard. It takes work and energy and effort. And being the hero, you can't do it for applause. The moment you do it for applause, you're no longer the hero. You're something else. You're the actor. You're a different archetype. So it is tough. And here we sit in our middle life, loving to be the hero. We still want to be the rebel, actually. The problem is if you hold on to an archetype too long, you become a parody of yourself. Think Brett Favre, 2008. He was a parody. He became a joke.
He's still kind of a joke now, but for different reasons. Allegedly, they were siphoning funds from state Medicaid to build a volleyball court for his daughter's team. Nobody got prosecuted from I'm aware. Yeah. I was meaning the text messages that he was sending.
Oh, I don't even know about those. What text messages?
There's a documentary on it. By all means, watch it. There's a Netflix documentary.
What's it? Well, give me the thumbnail.
No. Okay. He was texting pictures inappropriately to. Yeah.
Oh, can you graphically describe these pictures for me in words appropriate to a podcast that is explicitly rated?
Yeah, I mean, he was sending dick pics to a woman trying to entice her to reach out to him, and it unfortunately ruined her career.
I'm Brett
And
Favre.
well, yeah, kind of, yeah. And
So,
well, he was
and
married,
that's
and
where we're
he was
at.
married to his wife, who was had cancer at the time. Now, I don't know that he's ever admitted to doing it, but yeah, sad.
Well, and that is the problem with being the hero, is that no one really is.
So who was Uncle Sam
Pe-
sending dick pics to?
Good
Norway?
question. Oh, it's not my
Maybe somebody could shoot us. Maybe somebody could.
Fiji.
Fiji. There you go.
Yeah,
Uncle
it's
Sam.
to Fiji.
That could be a Facebook comment. Somebody can let us know who they think Uncle Sam is going to send dick pics to.
There you go. So we've ranged far afield. Rebel, hero, and now we sit at a point where we really have to make some transitions. Those are youthful archetypes. We have to transition to the mentor and the wise man archetype. This is our challenge, that if we can't be the hero anymore, which I don't know if we can be. I know there's a big swath of the American people that don't want us to be. They get angry at it. I mean, we've just seen this. We've cut off US aid. We're not engaged in the world. We want to isolate. We want to take care of America first. In fact, I think that's a slogan, America first. So you can't do that and still be the hero, but we certainly still want to be seen as the hero. We've got to make this transition. We've got to make the transition to a wise man, to a mentor. That's a hard thing. And if I had Uncle Sam on the couch, these would be the things I would be attempting to elucidate.
Hey, it's Rob from Shrink the Nation. As my friend David so eloquently states at the beginning of the show, we are clinicians, but we're not your clinician. We love to joke around and dive into the tough topics, but there's something really important we need to say. If you're struggling with your mental health or facing substance use issues, we want you to know you're not alone. We have dedicated our professional careers to mental health, and we care deeply about it. It's okay to ask for help. Reaching out to a professional in your area could be the first step toward feeling better. Don't wait. There's support out there, and it works. Please take that first step. We want you to be well. Now let's get back to the show. Oh, and don't tell David I said he was eloquent. He'll be insufferable.
To transition to the role of the wise man or the mentor requires somebody to need that.
That's astute. And it's a flipping it on the head kind of perspective, that there has to be an audience for this. I am thinking more in terms of how we see ourselves, but you just flipped it around and made it, who's the audience? And I think the world's the audience. There's a lot of young democracies. And by young democracy, I'm not saying young nation. There are a lot of nations that are fundamentally young democracies, that they have not inculcated the values of a democracy, liberal democracy, little L. And I know liberal is a charged term, but I'm talking about more of a philosophical approach. There's an audience out there, and there is a way we can transition to the wise person that is helping younger nations, younger democracies, and setting the example for them. It's not giving wisdom, it's living wisdom. Think of the perfect grandfather or grandmother. Grandfather, because the term's wise man. Unfortunately, sadly for women, the term is crone, which sounds terrible, but it's the same principle. It's just the wise man conveys a certain type of wisdom. The crone conveys a feminine sort of wisdom that's slightly different, equally important. Jung believed that male and female were equally important. He was not sexist in any way. But making that transition is living it, living democracy. And that is the hard thing, that there are some forces at play right now where we would, and no one says, I want to do away with democracy. What they're driving for is, I want to do away with the tension of democracy. And democracy has a tension.
Democracy has to have a tension. And
it's not a bug. It's a feature of democracy.
It's a feature. Yeah. One of the features of our democracy was that we only created two sides of it, which certainly has its drawbacks.
Man, psychodynamically, it's so consistent. That's how our psyche works. Fascinating.
Yeah.
So let me move on.
What? Well, no. We've not fixed Uncle Sam yet.
No,
at
we
the
have
very least,
not.
how does somebody who's listening to this take that and go, okay, I get it. There's the struggle. Now I understand. Because if I'm sitting at home or in my car or waking up behind a dumpster and this is playing,
which may well happen since the old crow's not bad, is it? Now that you've worked your way through,
now once you've worked your way through it, the old crow.
That's the remarkable thing about alcohol, anyway, is that none of it's that great until
that's true. Start with something good and then work your way down. Old crow, perfect second
you get
drink.
number. You get number.
Yeah. If I'm listening to this and I'm trying to understand any of it and I'm struggling, but I want to get something out of it to say, okay, I feel better.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what side of the aisle I lean toward. What's the crux from this? What can I glean from what we just talked about?
Gosh, if this made people uncomfortable, the next concept of the shadow is going to make them super uncomfortable. And here's the thing,
I want to know not what makes you uncomfortable, but
how do I feel better is what you asked.
I guess if I want to take this and say what Uncle Sam is going through right now. This conflict of I have been the hero and I'm torn between wanting to stay the hero and getting really tired of it.
So I'm going to
conflict.
Yes. I understand where the conflict is. I'm going to use a quote from Jung.
I know that
to
you
answer
do.
Your question.
I want somebody who I know you understand the conflict. If somebody is listening to this,
or pretend to for a podcast, I pretend to.
Whether they're on, well, I pretend to most of the time, but no, whether they're on either side,
right?
The point is that it's gotten to this point naturally.
Yeah. Let me just step back from a Jungian standpoint. And one of the things I love about Jung is that he never claimed his job was to make you feel better. In fact, there's a lovely quote from him. I am totally going to paraphrase this because it is super long. But he basically said, look, my job's not to make you feel better. My job is to get you to recognize what your responsibilities as an adult are and for you to embrace those. So what we're doing here, what we're talking about, if we're purely in a Jungian frame, is not making people feel better necessarily, but making them aware. And there is a quote, go ahead and drink. I am absolutely going to quote word for word, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That is a Carl Jung quote. It is Carl Jung at his core. I mean, it is quintessential Carl Jung. And that's the point here. I'm not saying there's a direct solution. I'm saying
I don't want to imply that you and I or anybody is just going to resolve and make Uncle Sam, this non-existent being, better by discussing what's happened. What I want people to understand or hear is when we pull back that lens and they look at this state, this time period now, they say, look what's happening around us. Look at this environment. Look how polarized things are. Look at all the infighting. Look at all the bad feelings that's happening on both sides, to the point where we can't even post something on Facebook that is even just peripherally politically related. We don't talk about candidates. We don't talk about policy. We don't direct people to vote in any one direction. We do none of that. And yet, if you read the comments on our page, it's far right, it's far left, it's just all this infighting back and forth.
Yeah.
Somehow you put up the word nihilism in a picture and it's those fucking Dems will do anything. And those fucking MAGA clowns will do anything.
Yeah.
We're neither of these. We're talking about nihilism as a concept. The point is, if you pull back this lens and you look at it and you say, okay, what is happening right now and where Uncle Sam is actually kind of a normal progression. It's a normal evolution of the country from that perspective. We can do it Jungian, we can do it self-psychology, we can do it attachment, we could do it all these different ways, and we'll have a blast doing it. But however we go through it and we look at the history and we look at the progression, we end up here because this was how it was going to end up. Where we go from here is going to depend upon what you just said, the responsibility of the person, each individual that embodies Uncle Sam collectively, and their understanding that just because somebody doesn't agree with me, I might be in the camp of I'm tired of being the hero, and that person might be in the camp of I still want to be the hero. doesn't make us mortal enemies. It means that we have differing opinions. Our responsibility is to work through that and to become the wise man through that shared experience, that lived perspective. You can still be a hero without running around saving the world.
You can be a wise man and a hero.
Yeah.
There are moments when the wise man becomes the hero, and there are plenty of movies that I could point to that demonstrated this. What we're shooting for here is nuance, and that's the difference between the warrior, who is young and full of vigor, willingness, and desire to fight and be revered and honored, to be applauded, and the wise man, who is in the background, who is willing to throw a punch if a punch is required. Just because you are wise doesn't mean you are a pacifist. That's what we're shooting for here, is just the nuance of it, understanding this dynamic. And also, fundamentally, wisdom means you don't have to be all one thing or anything else. It's not selecting one. It's channeling this wisdom, which is the power to know when. The serenity prayer, grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot accept and the wisdom to know the difference, or whatever it is. And that's it. That's the wisdom piece. That's what we're trying to accomplish. We want folks to just see the dynamic so that they can accept it as part of a predictable evolution, rather than want to strangle someone on Facebook over we should do this or we should do that. We should do something. I don't know. Be wise about it. Let's sit back and just think about it before we do.
Thank you. That was
love, and I love Facebook. Love all the Facebook users that post comments. They're great.
I do enjoy the comments. I really do. We do a good job responding to them.
Yeah, the collective conscious that is Shrink the Nation.
The collective conscious.
Yeah.
Believe you me, if it was me responding as me to some of the comments.
Yeah, you're not the wise man.
I am not the wise man. My sarcasm, and just believe, it would be brutal.
Well, but fundamentally,
that's terrible.
We're trying to channel that, though. We're trying to channel the wise man that will accept little L democracy. We're accepting the opinions and thoughts of others. Now, I would like to transition to one other topic real quick. Part of Jungian therapy was this identifying where you are archetypically. This is the archetype you were given. How do you transition into a mature archetype? That was part of it. Now, part of Jungian therapy was what he called shadow work. The shadow, from Jung's standpoint, is all the things about ourselves that we don't necessarily like. We push into our shadow where we don't have to see them. So let's say you grow up believing that being angry is bad. Well, you push anger into your shadow. The problem with that is that until you deal with it, you are going to have periods in which it takes control of you. You're going to have these temper tantrums, whatever. So for the US, we have a dramatically large shadow, and it would be impossible for us not to. You cannot achieve what we've achieved without hurting people, without violating your own ethics and rules. It's just how it works. There's no alternative to this. So in our shadow, we are the nation of freedom and equality. What we are carrying is slavery, race inequality, sex inequality. Women have only been able to vote for 100 years at this point, and an economic inequality that is particularly salient right now. That right at this moment, the gap between our biggest earners and our lowest earners is as big as it has ever been in all of history. The American dream, the idea that America is the land of opportunity, is right now a dream. When you look at the statistics, it's not the success that people experience has less to do with this sort of randomness that your own personal wherewithal and power push you through. It has much more to do with where you start in the race. And those things are our shadow. We have to manage those. We have to deal with those. I have no doubt that anyone listening to this might be offended by what I just said. When I bring up, say, slavery, as if that is a thing that we still have to deal with, I get a lot of pushback from that. Deep emotional pushback. Hey, it's not my fault. I didn't do that. I never had a slave. I realize, and you didn't. What I'm referencing is, as a nation, we have not always lived up to our national goals, our identity as a nation. And this is true with humans. This is true with us as people, that you have this concept of yourself, what constitutes a good person, and then you have the reality of you. And integrating those two things, accepting your flaws, is an important component of growing up, of being an adult.
Yeah, I actually completely agree. So you'll see this a lot with patients who really struggle with some internal conflict, where they'll say, I see myself as very highly ethical. I'll see myself as having a high moral compass, but I watch pornography, and that brings them a lot of shame, a lot of strife. Normally, the conversation I'll end up having to have with them is, if you setting your moral compass here at a certain point, but you're finding that it's actually here in your actions, then, well, maybe the issue is that that's where your moral compass really is. That's where you exist. It's not that there's really something wrong with you. You're just trying to live up to an expectation that's just not where you are.
Well, and that's the midlife thing, is that moral compass, or that level that they've set the bar, it's not their level. It's their mom's level or their dad's level. It's their parents' level. What they're living is their level. Now, once you accept where my level is, you can have the debate. Is this high enough for me? Am I living below my standard? But where that tension is between what was given and what you're living. The reality of your life is what your authentic self is. And that's the struggle that people have. And ultimately, I think that's the struggle that we have. Have we lived up to the standard that we were given in the Constitution? Not always. Do we need to take that personally? No. We had some really high standards as parents. You know, the founding fathers had the luxury of writing perfection and then dying, so that we can't really compare and contrast. We can't say, look, John Adams, you were the mass streaker that ran around Massachusetts. We didn't know this. You kept it hidden from us, or whatever. I mean, these weren't
we're going to
perfect
get sued
individuals.
for that too. I'm sure we're going to get sued for that.
To the estate of John Adams, my deepest humble apology for besmirching the memory of, although I'm pretty sure he was the Massachusetts streaker of 1792. They didn't live up to this. I mean, we can look at their individual lives and we know they didn't live up to it. They had the benefit of putting perfection on paper. And what we write, like what you put up on your dream board versus what you live, is different. And part of middle life is reconciling that and accepting yourself, what your authentic self is. And that's the struggle where we're at right now. Accepting ourselves, accepting our imperfections, not hiding from them, not running from them, not wanting to just basically delete them from the history books, but accepting them. That this is the path we've taken to get to where we're at. We like where we're at. We don't feel good about the people we stepped on to get there.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
It's so
accepting. Yeah, I think accepting the flaws of the past, understanding that you make mistakes, but running from them or pretending like they didn't happen, or living in shame, saying, well, it didn't exist, or constantly living in fear that it's going to come out.
We're currently living like an Instagram filtered feed. The photos that we're posting are heavily filtered, and we have prettier skin. We have bigger breasts. We have less wrinkles than we truly have.
Well, we're trying to. I think that's maybe the issue, is that we think we are, but we're not. Maybe that's the issue, is that what we're hoping that we are doing is that, and the reality is that all the unfiltered pictures are still there, and we're trying
and people see us in real life.
And people see it. Yeah, and people see us. Exactly. Uncle Sam, what are we going to do with you?
Bless his heart. He doesn't want to accept his wrinkles. He doesn't want to accept that he can't run a 12-minute 2-mile anymore. Oh, wait, that's me. All the things that we struggle with as we age, and we just have to accept and then recompile our self-image. That you can't maintain the same self-image throughout the course of your lifespan. You have to recompile it. You have to reconcile it. All of our tens of listeners can identify with posting a heavily filtered photo that, they get in a separate app and they make it a little more blurry, and they go in and fix their flaws, and they make their waist a little smaller, and they make whatever a little bigger, whatever you prioritize.
I'm starting to not relate with that at all. What are you talking about?
Oh, you've not played
that
around
explains your Insta. That explains your Insta now.
Well, it explains why I don't have an Insta, but
that's why your breasts look so good on your Instagram. Right.
I've got some pretty amazing ones on my pictures, but in reality, not so much. So saggy would be how I would,
They're
it's
just
hard
not
to
nice in real life. Just not in real life.
It's hard to have been around since the Civil War, and
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since those Salem witch trials.
Right. The skin's not quite as elastic as it once was. It's taut. But I think folks who would listen in can identify, or if they're not doing it, they are laughing at other people who are posting these photos. They just saw them at the grocery store, and then they get on Facebook or Instagram or whatever and see these photos that are heavily altered. That's not real. And no one accepts it as real, but the person, it makes them feel better. That's what we have to struggle with. We have to stop being a filtered nation and become one that's real, that's authentic. And the authentic truth is we are built on an amazing set of concepts. We have accomplished amazing things. In doing so, we have wronged a good number of people. We've not always lived up to the concept that all men and women are created equal, that the American dream is only available to a certain percentage. We have to accept that. And then we can actually start working on, well, how do we live up to what our true authentic self is? Until we accept that, we can't even begin to live up to it. We're going to keep posting filtered photos.
I got no argument there. You're absolutely right.
So the shadow is kind of like smelling the hint of something in your basement and not taking the time to go find it. The next thing you know, you've got a full-blown crisis in your house because there is a rotting raccoon corpse in your basement that you just didn't go look for when you had the chance. And that's what we have to avoid. We can't have a rotting corpse of a raccoon in our basement. We got to go find that. We got to go find it. We got to get rid of it. We got to accept the fact I've got to go down there with a snow shovel and shovel this corpse,
in a bag, into a plastic bag,
into a Walmart
in a
bag.
Trash bag, Walmart bag. How big is this raccoon? It's not very big. Yeah,
everyone's got a million of those around their house. We've got to shovel this corpse into our Walmart bag.
Raccoon
and until
corpse.
we do that, we're gonna just have to live with the stench, and it ain't getting better. It's gonna get worse.
That was a morbid,
visceral. It was visceral.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
that was. I don't know what to do with that. All right.
Yeah, there's no place to go from, but we could talk prescription. Well, I'm going to start with a legitimate one, and that is public discourse starts in our schools. We are at an inflection point in which we're attempting to. It won't actually happen. It's the internet. You can't delete the internet. The real history of the United States is out there, but we are attempting to delete a certain percentage of our history at this time, and it's counterproductive. It's not going to work. So this is really about educating our children on the amazing foundation that we were built on, empowering them with that. We were built on something that is truly unique and truly wonderful. The Constitution is a spectacular document. The Declaration of Independence is a spectacular document. It is something to aspire to. And we all have those things that we want to aspire to, but then we fall short. So we have to face the fact that we have fallen short multiple times, and we have lived up to our ideals multiple times. And that is the reality of us, that we are an exceptional nation, regardless of where we fell short. And until you see where you fell short, you can't prevent yourself from falling short in the future. That's the real prescription. This is educating our children on the reality of our history. Absurd one is that we are no longer allowed to post any filtered photos of ourselves on Instagram. None. Someone has to go into our phone, delete the filter apps, and only the
Instagram.
The raw, well, maybe we should just delete Instagram. But only the raw, Instagram. Unfiltered photo gets to go on the web.
Just got rid of the internet. That's No filters.
No
How could we
filters.
possibly stand to look at our lives if there's no filters?
And that's
a good
the
one.
challenge. We've got to get rid of the filters. We've got to get rid of the filters and then accept this is truly how I look. And if I accept this is truly how I look, then I've got two choices. One, I'm going to be more at ease with myself, or two, I'm going to be motivated to do things that maybe make me look better. I think you get my point that at least it gives us a legitimate choice. You know, it's like folks who like, I don't like to have my picture taken. Well, they don't like their picture taken because they don't like to look at themselves. And that's a problem. If you can't look at yourself and your way of dealing with it is to just not have pictures taken of yourself, that's preventing you from seeing it, but the rest of the world still sees it. So you're not facing it. You're hiding from it, but not well. It's like the 3-year-old that puts their hands over their eyes and says, "You can't see me. I can't see you, so you can't see me."
Somehow avoidance is some sort of bad thing. I don't feel like, geez, like, all right. So I got some prescriptions too. One would be just to practice empathy. Take time each day to just listen to someone, a neighbor, a family member, hell, even yourself. Just take a few minutes to have a conversation, an actual conversation, not text message, not hate back and forth on social media, but an actual conversation with another human being, and just listen to their perspective, try to understand where they're coming from. Realize that you may not always agree with everybody, but it's in that time just trying to empathize, putting yourself in their shoes to kind of understand where they're coming from, that we can find more in common and see that what we've been talking about is that we may not be on the same side of that coin, but it's all the same coin. Remember that we're really all in this together and we really do need each other. Uncle Sam functions much better as one Uncle Sam by himself than split in two. We've been very successful as one great country. Getting torn in half is probably not a great option. But the other one would just be laugh at the chaos at times. Honestly, if you want a good laugh, look at our Facebook feeds. That sometimes just laugh at the chaos, perfectly with a bourbon in hand. Sometimes the best therapy is just not taking yourself too seriously. Understand that life is a challenge. Sometimes things don't go the way that we want them to. They rarely do. When it does, awesome. But when it doesn't, laugh at the mistakes that we make if we can, and find some humor. Check out our Facebook, look at some of the comments, especially our biggest fan, T. Allen, biggest fan. Man, that person loves us so much, likes to comment on everything we do. So I'm just gonna big shout out to him. And
but the comments are like, I don't like you, but I'm still here with you.
Yeah, I mean, they must. I'm touched by them sometimes. I mean, sometimes
absolutely.
but just to say, I mean, you must really appreciate us to spend that much time thinking about us and what we're doing. So I'd say number one fan. And as soon as we get our merch going, I'm gonna see if
I'm sending him a t-shirt.
I'm sending him something if I can get him to slide in my DMs with an address, I'll send him a shirt. So
David's always looking for someone to slide into his DMs.
Slide into those DMs. All right. Before we go, I will ask for some audience engagement. Reach out to us. Hit us up on socials if you feel like it. Please do. Like us on Facebook.
There's an email address too, right?
Socials at shrinkthenation.com.
Send questions.
Send questions, but we have a question. What prescription would you write for America? Really interested. We've kind of given our take. A lot of times it's a similar flavor because we really do believe that if you would do some of these things, a lot of us would just lead better lives. Those of you out there listening, what would you recommend? And we'd love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed any of this or any of our past episodes, if we made you laugh, made you sad, if you enjoyed it or angry, let us know. If you're just hate listening to us, great. Share us with a friend.
That's awesome. Keep downloading them. And
keep downloading.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Smash that subscribe button. Share us with anybody. We really appreciate any engagement.
Well, and you're hitting on our dual purpose here. You and I and Keith, we enjoy talking about sort of big picture things, but the way we enjoy it is because it is applicable to the individual. And bringing about a change in our nation is really a function of bringing about a change in each and every individual, making them feel more confident, better. It's hard to accept some of our national inadequacies when that's what you're holding on to, the greatness let's say, of the United States, that's the life preserver you're holding on to in your life. So we find this, or at least I find this, and I think I can say this is an effort to talk about the big picture and hopefully actually see some benefit on the individual level. And functionally, benefit on the individual level, when we multiply that out by the millions of people that are citizens of the United States, it translates into benefit to the greater good. If everyone's healthy and happy, feeling like they're living their best life and engaged, the nation's going to show that. We're going to be the great nation that we are and can be. So please engage with us. We'd love it. We'd love it. We'd love the questions. We'd love the engagement.
Yeah. And remember, conflict is natural. It's totally normal. We have a two-party system. There's going to be conflict. We just want to temper the hate. So if you reach out to us on our socials, we'll respond. We love to respond. But if you're going to ask us questions about a particular candidate or some political figure and you want us to agree that they're the worst person on earth, I don't know that they're the worst person on earth. That's just not what we're going to do, because that's not what we do. What we're here for is what we just did. We're going to go through the psychology of this mess that is this amazing, wonderful,
glorious
country,
clusterfuck,
glorious clusterfuck of a nation of ours. That's what it is. It is a mess, but it is wonderful. It's a wonderful mess. We both love it so much. I
Deeply.
mean, we've dedicated our lives, our professional adult lives, to serving our country for a reason. We absolutely love it. We're doing this because we love it. And that's, if you have questions about that, I'm sorry, I can't explain that any better.
Might be an episode for the future, though.
Yeah, it could. But but we will.
Please share, rate, comment. That's valuable to us, and that, I guess, it's a selfish request, but ultimately we would really enjoy that engagement.
And we're working on merch. So
we are working on merch.
Really excited for the merch. I can't wait to get my hands on the merch. Even if nobody else ever gets their hands on any merch, I'm super excited to get.
I'll wear the sweatshirt with pride.
Whiskey glasses, sweatshirts. I will stretch out that baby onesie and wear it like a bib. I don't know how it'll fit, but really excited for the merch. So thank you for sticking around with us to this point. Look for the next episode to come up, and we'll see you next time. Hit that music.
Hit it.
We're out.
All right.